Welcome to your Sandemann's tour, and my name is Allison, and I'm very happy to have you with me today. So just a little bit about myself, because we're going to spend a couple of hours, maybe 2, maybe 3 hours together, somewhere in between. I am from California. You can tell by the accent I'm not exactly Parisian, but I, like most expats, fell in love with a French man, as it happens. And so I came over to France about 2 years ago, and I absolutely love it, and I know you do too, or you would not have chosen to be here in this beautiful city. So besides doing tours, I'm actually a writer, and I've graduated with a couple of art degrees, so I love this city. There's so much art, there's so much history, and I can't wait to tell you about it. So how many of you have been on a Sandemann's tour before? Oh, you? Okay, great. So, for those of you that haven't been on the tour before, Sandemann is actually a really cool company. It is in 18 cities, including New York and Israel. And the concept is that we want you to be able to afford a tour experience that is going to be memorable. And the catch here is that you don't prepay, you pay what you feel the tour was worth. So keep that in mind later, because if you felt like I did a good job, I do accept $100 euro notes. But you know, if you didn't feel like it was very good, just let me know that it wasn't great and I need to brush up on some of my facts, and I'll be happy to do that. And I just appreciate having the time with you, but this is how I make my living. Sandemann hired me as an independent contractor, and they don't pay me, so this is what I do, and I love it. It actually, the flexibility of my schedule allows me to be with my husband, who's a sommelier and works in the evenings, and it also gives me the opportunity to write my book, that great novel that you guys are all going to buy when it comes out on that bestseller list, right? So let's talk a little bit about where we are right now. We are in the Latin Quarter. The Latin Quarter got its name because the Sorbonne University is over here, and the Sorbonne was one of 3 universities in Europe. And in order for them to be able to teach to the diverse cultures of Europe, they needed to speak a common language, and that language was Latin. So if you take a look around the square later, you'll see there are a ton of yellow awnings, and those awnings are all bookstores. Those bookstores have a variety of different subject matters on the awnings, because they cater to different subjects. The French really love that boutique experience. They don't like a big store to go to for all of their needs. So what they do is they go to each individual store. So even you can find a book here in your language. There's a variety of, there's even an English book section over here, so I can go over there if I wanted to. But if I was going to buy a book, I would actually go around the corner to Shakespeare and Company. Shakespeare and Company has a great history. That's where Hemingway, Fitzgerald, James Joyce, Jack Kerouac, all kinds of other people came here, and that's where their literary center was. But we're going to pass it really quickly as we go over to Notre Dame. But I'll be sure to point it out to you, so try to pay attention, because we're a good-sized group, and we're going to be moving rather quickly so we can get all the major monuments in today. So that's the best part about this tour, is you're going to get a great overview of the majority of the city, and then after that you'll have time for cafe culture, or maybe take another tour. So I really do recommend that if you want to learn more about this area, about the Latin Quarter, that you take the Latin Quarter tour. And at the end of the tour, we'll end up in the Tuileries Gardens, and you'll have about an 8-minute walk with me over to a cafe where we'll be able to give you some more information about those tours. And so let's talk a little bit about this fountain right behind us. This is the Fountain of Saint Michel. So Saint Michel, or Saint Michael, if you're English, is the patron saint, the archangel that determines your fate. So he actually is sending the devil down into hell. Well, you'll see him again when we get over to Notre Dame, because he's one of the people that is weighing with his scale whether you're light enough to go up to heaven, or whether you're going to go down below. This fountain was commissioned by Napoleon and built by Haussmann, but he actually hired 4 different artists to help him, and there's actually 4 different types of marble used on this fountain in a variety of colors. So there's yellow, red, green, and blue, and they're all from different areas in France. But when they debuted the fountain, the French, as is fairly typical, hated it because it was just kind of loud, kind of ostentatious, and they didn't like the colors at all. Today, you can see the colors are a little more muted, so it doesn't look quite as over the top as it was at that time. But for that time, it was a little much for them. So beside this beautiful fountain, you'll see that we are right at the beginning of our tour. We're going to head down the street. I'm going to point out a couple of things on the way, but there's something I do want to tell you about, is that when you're in France, there's 3 things that are really important. One is the language, one is the culture, one is the food. So the food, I am your best friend here right now, today, at this moment. So please use me as your resource. If you have questions about good places to go in your neighborhood, near your hotel, or any place that we are, I love to eat. So I will definitely give you some great suggestions. As far as the culture, I want to explain that when you go into a shop, you're kind of entering somebody else's home. So it's very polite if you say bonjour to the shopkeeper. Initiate the conversation. I guarantee you that if you make an effort, they're going to give you better service. If you have a problem with the language, it's not a problem. You could always say, do you speak English, after you say bonjour. It will make the biggest difference, okay? Definitely try to see a museum while you're here. I know it's loud, but we're going to get through this, okay? So try to see a museum. I have a lot of options in regards to museums for you. I've been to almost all of the museums here. It's pretty incredible. As far as the different attractions throughout the city, Sandeman has a great offering for you to help you. A lot of discount tickets for the tower, Tour Montparnasse, for the River Seine cruises, which I really recommend at night when it's really beautiful and things are lit up. We have a City of Lights tour. We have a lot of options to help you to enjoy and maximize your time here. So let's go ahead and cross the street and get started on our tour, okay?